This is a LG fridge, a self-defrosting or no frost. But this fridge, when it came to our shop, the whole coil behind here was frozen up. To get to the coil, there's a cover you remove, and there's your fan, and this is the coil. Now this coil was completely covered in ice. Now this coil has a heating element that comes on every now and then to melt the ice off, and this element is switched on by a microprocessor or a PC board. Now obviously the heater didn't come on because it built up a lot of ice, so I did some testing, and this fridge has got two sensors in a little plastic bag like this. This one with the two orange wires is a little temperature sensor, and this brown and red wire is what we refer to as a micro temp. Now what this does is, or how I tested this, two orange wires on this plug, I put a multimeter on it, you measure the resistance, and I heat it up with a hairdryer, and you'll see the resistance change, and we can assume the sensor is fine. But this micro temp is actually a fuse that blows on temperature. So if for some reason it would overheat and blow the fuse, then the heater won't come on to melt the ice down. Now I tested with my multimeter on this plug, the brown and blue, open circuit, so we can safely say this micro temp is dead. So what I did was I cut the wires off, and I've linked a micro temp to this, which I've soldered onto the two wires, and I've covered them with heat shrink. So we just leave these two off, and this will do the same work. We plug this back into its original place. Once we've plugged this cable in again, this little pouch that had the sensor and the micro temp in actually fits in behind a little zip tie, which ties it onto the coil here. And if we're careful and it's a bit fiddly, we can slide this back into this behind the zip tie, and we stick this sensor behind it, and we just leave it there. But now we got to test whether there might be a second problem on this. And what we do in a case like that is, once we've assembled it, there's no ice on here. Once that is mounted, we'll put the fan back, close it up, and we'll run this fridge. And now we got to determine whether the defrost works. Now I've got a very simple way of testing it. If you have a look at this Bosch fridge here, which we've already repaired the problem, what I do is I take a block of ice, just normal ice, which I put on top of the heating element, and we just leave this fridge, we leave it running, and tomorrow when I come back and the block of ice is still there, then we know that the defrost element didn't come on, and if the block of ice is melted, the defrost works. And that's exactly the same I'm going to do with this once I've assembled it. Running for 5 minutes now. So there's your fan turning, and it's inside is nicely frozen. So this is a block of ice I've made. I will just put the block of ice there, and I'll leave this block of ice there. And if the automatic defrost system works, by tomorrow that block of ice should be gone. Thanks.